So we've just finished the live feed.
Yeah. We've had a couple of rums and a couple of gins.
And I'm cold because the heating's gone off, so I'm going to put my hoodie on.
Got to save the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Because being skint isn't good for your mental health.
No, it's not. Being rich for your mental health, you can just be sad in nice places.
What nice places?
Like Hawaii.
I don't know if I like wearing this hoodie, Nick. It's going to make me look like I'm huge. Hi, I'm the fitness hutch and I'm really fat. I should have put a bit.
That's your six-pack.
Hoodie on because it makes. I was watching one back the other day.
It is a big hoodie, that one.
I know, yeah, I like it. It's warm.
It's cozy. It's like
But I was watching one back and it looked like I got this huge belly because of the way I was sat.
like a snuddy. Do I look like I got a huge belly?
No, you look amazing. I'm not exactly the best advocate for fitness. I'm when I'm sat there looking huge.
Well,
but it's just my clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Underneath that, you're like a twig.
And my Saturday tea. And all the rum.
Ah, dear. I'm a VIP.
You're still wearing your VIP pass?
I tell you, it's made me feel important.
Yeah, but no, Dexter. No. No, if you knock that camera, I'm not going to be impressed.
Dexter, go lie down.
You know what he's doing? He's trying to get to this. Take it out then. Take it out. Go on, off you go.
Dexter and his dildo. Dexter and his dildo.
As Claire was just reliably informed us, it looks like a double-ended dildo.
Well, she would know.
Would she know?
Well, I'm assuming so.
Is that because she likes Shakespeare? She's a thespian.
I don't know if she refers to herself as a thespian.
I don't
know.
Maybe she can tell us in the... Oh, no, she can't tell us in the comments because we're not live anymore, are we?
No. I don't think she really identifies with any particular group of people. I think she's just her.
I think she should identify as someone who's pretty amazing.
Claire is pretty amazing.
She is, and I think... Yeah, I spoke to her a few minutes ago. I texted her after the live.
Yeah, I was talking.
Just to say thank you. And said we ought to think about trying to get her on the podcast.
Yeah. She is
with an occupational health occupational therapist.
So yeah, she's like
out,
a
Dexter.
superhero.
Go on out. Go lay down somewhere. Go on. We've riled him now, haven't we?
You've given him his toy. Dexter.
I think he just wants to come in and lay down. Look, come here. Go under there, look. And you can come in. There you go. See? Go and lay down.
He's like, get me.
No, go lay down. You're not coming up with me. You can go lay down. I don't mind you being on the cameras, but you're going to have to go lay down because...
He's like, I can't get out now.
You don't need to. You can just go lay down. Does he think there's something in here for him?
Don't know.
He's not. He's just going to lay down. Look, that's what he's going to do. There we go. He can lay there. He's popular. I'm going to have to do loads of the zoom out shots because then he'll be in it. Then we can hashtag dog and everyone on YouTube will watch it because there's a dog.
Because there's a dog. It's stupid dog. I'm not talking to him because then he'll start jumping up.
Yeah, let's just ignore him. Because we don't want to motivate him to jump up.
No.
Because motivation's the subject. See what I did?
Yeah,
one of the things we had to talk about was motivation, wasn't it?
Yeah, so what motivates people?
I suppose...
What motivates you?
I don't know. It's weird because everyone was talking about it earlier. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Dave that said... it was Dave said about motivation. I thought, I don't really think about what motivates me.
No, most people don't. So you've got intrinsic and external sort of motivators. So what motivates you as a person, intrinsically, like within you, and then what motivates you with the world around you.
I suppose when I think about my motivation, it's day-to-day motivation to keep your family running, isn't it?
That's your moral compass, isn't it?
That's both of us, isn't it? We can't just sit around doing nothing because the kids need the uniform washing and ironing for Monday morning. Or we want to keep the YouTube channel rolling over, so we've got to do recording, or we've got £800 worth of ducks that need to be sold. So we've got to take, and that's your motivation, isn't it? The rolling, the desire or the need to keep moving forward.
So yeah, there's desire, so what you want, what you need, but also that's not always like financial, or like that can be around. So if you think about somebody, I don't know, that's got no motivation, it's because for all sorts of reasons people become demotivated, can't they?
Is it demotivated or unmotivated, or is it both?
Either or.
Demotivated. So you was motivated and you're not anymore, which means you've been demotivated.
Yeah.
That can be a chemical imbalance that
Yeah, it
demotivates
can
you,
be,
though,
but
can't
then
it?
like I suppose if you think about, if you're at work and you're putting in 100% all the time and you don't reap any rewards, like whether that's financial or whether that's praise, then that can be demotivating, because then people think, well, I won't bother.
Ding, 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 ding. Is that ringing? That's ringing bells. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, you can
Yeah,
demotivate people, can't you, by not. So
yeah. So if you work, sorry.
some people have so we all have our own internal drivers. So some people want to do really well because they want to have success. We have our own internal drivers, and some people are more driven than others, and that's fine. But so what drives you doesn't necessarily drive me, but then some things that I do can demotivate you, and same vice versa. So you kind of learn about the people around you, don't you, and what motivates them or what demotivates them.
I get demotivated really quickly, but then I can get motivated again just as quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's normal or not, but like, let's take YouTube, for instance, because that's what this is going to be on. I can go from thinking, yeah, this is amazing and everything's doing great, and you've got really great people around you, a great live podcast, 30 people on, and then 2 people will unsubscribe and are like, do you know what, I don't even know if this is worth it. You're demotivated like over something that's really ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's lost value, hasn't it? Because there's not as many people that liked it as, so it's lost some reward.
But that's quite catastrophic, isn't it? Because 30 people come into that live tonight at some point. I think at the height there was 30, and we lost 2 subscribers in the process of it, but we didn't, because I know that Claire subscribed, and I know there was 2 other people who were new that subscribed, so I know that 3 had. So to lose 2 and gain 3, I must have lost 5. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm only 2 short.
Unless Claire hasn't subscribed.
Unless she's bullshitting. I don't know if my maths is right. I'm trying to work it out. It's late and I've had a
She's
lot of
not. She's not a bullshitter though, is Claire?
No, I think she will have subscribed.
Or she wouldn't know how to do it. It took her a week to get an account.
And that's how you get in your head, though, isn't it? Because you think, oh well, I can't achieve the amount I want to achieve in the time I want to. I'm just not going to bother. But that's really irrational. Because what difference does them 2 make when we've got 30 who want to watch us? Don't, do they? It's their loss. They want to unsubscribe.
They want to go and watch, I don't know, Barney videos or whatever.
Yeah, just go watch some other shit. But it is really easy to get demotivated like that. Yeah, I think you think I'm in quite a good place, like psychologically.
Yeah, if you've got somebody who's feeling quite low and all their themes and their thinking are quite negative, and it's really difficult for them to put a positive spin on things, then yeah, that can be even more demotivating, can't it? And reinforce some of those negative thoughts or some of that negative thinking.
So, how, if you are really demotivated or unmotivated, not motivated, however you want to word it, how do you go about getting that back? Because I know that when I've felt like that in the past, when I was at my worst and you and the kids were going out, like kids were at school, you was at work and I was at home, like I wasn't even like, putting my game on. I was just sitting. I would just sit in a room in the quiet, not doing anything.
Doesn't help though, does it?
No, it doesn't help. But how do you get
You have
back
to,
into
you have
that
to
motivation?
fake it. You have to fake it until you make it. You have to force yourself to do things.
Yeah, I think that's real. I think that's real key. And you've got to force yourself. You've got to sit and go. You've got to recognise there's a problem first.
Because patterns of behaviour, they then cause patterns of behaviour, don't they? So does that make sense? So you don't one day being unmotivated and not doing anything. That's okay. We all have days like that, don't we? Where we can't be asked, and we
most days.
No, but we can't be asked, and some days it's okay because the consequence is you can pick it up tomorrow or you can do it another day, and it's not going to have an impact on anybody. But the consequence is if you sit in a room day after day after day after day doing nothing, then that's going to start impacting on the people around you, isn't it? Because somebody's got to pick up the slack.
Yeah, it's really hard though, isn't it? If it's in the middle of the day and you've really got to push yourself, but like if it's in the morning and you wake up and you're like, can't be asked, go back to bed, go and sleep, because that's really easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah, really easy. And I guess if you haven't got a job to go to, like that's one good thing about like annual leave and stuff, isn't it? It's limited. So if you've or a week or a day off or a weekend off, I've got X amount of time, and these are the things that I need to achieve. These are the things that I want to achieve. This is what I would like to have done before the end of my week off, and you kind of tick them off, don't you, as you go. But if you're off, I don't know, long-term sick or you're unemployed or there isn't an end to that time, it doesn't matter, does it? Because oh well, I'll just do it tomorrow.
Do you think there's worth in finding yourself something that you've got to achieve, even if it's something ridiculous like a Lego model?
I think it's important to have some level of commitment to something.
And then you plan it, like we was talking about earlier, the smart planet.
So if you've got a level of commitment, something that you've got to do, even if that's like somebody else relying on you to do that, that's quite a good one, really, because if you're somebody that doesn't like to let people down, you'll push yourself to then do that, even if that's meeting a friend for a coffee or meeting a friend for a walk, or if you haven't got a friend, like if you've got something booked in.
And I've remembered now what smart planning is, because I couldn't on the live, I couldn't bring it up. So it's specific,
measurable,
achievable, realistic,
realistic, not repeatable,
and time measured or time bound. So you've got whatever it is, it's got to be a specific thing. Can't just be tidy my house. You couldn't just have tidy my house because that's huge. You would have a room. So you pick a room. What's the one thing, right? In the room, I've got to get rid of the rubbish. So put the rubbish in a bag. Can you measure that? Yes, because all the rubbish is gone. Is it achievable? Yes, because I've got rubbish bags, I can achieve it. Is it realistic? Well, if it is realistic to get rid of all the rubbish in a room.
Depends on how much rubbish is in that room. When you think about people that hoard and people that.
But then that's where time bound comes in. To go, right, when do I need to have it done by? So I've got a week. Okay, so that's a week. So then you break it down even further. How am I going to achieve that? Day one, load up 3 bin bags. So when we're doing it, what I'll go, right, green bin's got to go out. We can put 2 bin bags next to the green bin once it's full. So my job is to fill the green bin and have 2 more bin bags to get rid of rubbish. So today I've got to fill 2 bin bags full of rubbish out of my living room. And that then is a specific, achievable task that's time bound, and you can measure whether you've done it or not.
I've been to people's houses though that truly hoard, and you walk through corridors within rooms of newspapers piled 6 foot high. You've got four sets of Scrabble 4 of everything, and it's like,
But you can still smart plan that.
no, absolutely. But we used to be like, because there was so much and they were so overwhelmed at where to start, and we were like, where do you start? Because it's not just a risk to life. Well, it is a risk to
It
life
is a risk to life.
because of like fire and all sorts of things. But to live in that level of chaos, and we were like, okay, you just need to clear an area out where you can make a sandwich. Like when their kitchen was piled high, like forget all of this, just that bit there. Today we're doing it.
I think though, yeah, and that's it. And that is smart planning it without thinking.
And
I
now
think,
that bit's clean, you keep that bit clean,
yeah,
and tomorrow we move on
do
to
the
the
next
next
bit.
bit.
Yeah. And I think you can use that model of smart planning for anything, because whatever it is, if it's motivation wise that you're struggling with it, what am I going to achieve today? You can't just go into the day with nothing in your head. What do I need to achieve? These are the 4 things. How am I going to achieve these 4 things? I want to do this,
I
and
think
this.
it's really important as well that when people are setting goals for themselves, that they are realistic, because people are really good at like, and you do this sometimes, setting really big goals and not necessarily breaking it right down to the basics, and then people don't achieve it, and then that's a failure, and that impacts even worse, because then it's like, well, I didn't do that, so I'm not going to bother tomorrow. What's the point?
Yeah, I think sometimes people, and especially again, this is something I do. What people do is they'll set a specific goal and then not really do anything to achieve it,
Well,
and then at the end they go, "I haven't achieved it."
well, you also have to look at what the reward is, don't you? So people like rewards motivate people. We use it at work. We just sort of reward people with praise, and but yeah, like when people stop smoking, I'm I'm going to stop smoking, and for every day I don't smoke, I'm going to put X amount of money in a jar, and then I'm going to spend that on myself. So that motivates people, doesn't it, to continue and to carry on.
Yeah, yeah, and that's, I suppose that's all part of the planning process, isn't it? So I think what we're probably getting to here then is that to 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 get your motivation back, you need to plan what it is that you want to achieve. What do you need to be motivated for? You've got to have an idea of what you need to be motivated for, and then plan where you want to get to. This is where I want to be, and these are all the steps of the ladder I've got to get to. So I've got to get on the first rung first. Can't go straight to stage 5 halfway up the ladder. Got to achieve the first step first. So what is the first step? And once you can work out what your first step is, you can work out what you've got to do to achieve that step. So let's say, again, let's take YouTube for example. If your goal is to be monetized, my goal has never been to be monetized. I've never even thought about that until started seeing people that had got over 1,000 subscribers. Never even thought about that. But if that is your goal to get monetized, you can't go, right, first goal is I want to get 800. Your first goal has got to be to start getting people. Like, I need to get to 100, 150, 200 and build it up slowly. And I think that's what you've got to do with any.
And I think, yeah, when you lose a couple, that, like you say, that demotivates you, because that takes away from the bigger goal, doesn't it? If that is your goal.
And that's losing a couple of subscribers is the same as not filling your 2 bin bags up on one day. Oh, I didn't fill 2 bin bags up today. Oh, I'm not doing it at all then. Well, no, just because you didn't fill 2 up today doesn't mean you can't fill 4 up tomorrow.
No.
So just because I didn't get to 320 this week doesn't mean I can't get to 330 next week. But then you can't keep carrying that over, because then it doesn't become realistic. Oh, I haven't done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'm just going to do 10 bags on the 5th day.
No, because then that's a, yeah.
Then you set yourself an unrealistic goal and then you don't achieve it, and then that unmotivates you. It's very difficult. It is a difficult process.
Yeah. And connectedness, that motivates people to feel connected. So if you think about somebody that's maybe struggling and feeling low in their mood, and they disconnect from, looking at,
I was looking at the time.
and they disconnect from people, and they're not at work, they can become quite demotivated, can't they? So it's about reconnecting, achieving small goals, looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah. Okay then, so to summarise motivation then, what if you're sat at home now and you're in a bit of a lull, and you think, oh, I'm just not motivated, not motivated to get fit, not motivated to change my diet, not motivated to make friends, not motivated to find a job. What are we saying is the first step? Is it different steps for everyone, or is the first step to recognize that you're not motivated? Once you've recognized you're not motivated, your first step to getting more motivated is to work out what it is you want to be motivated for.
Yeah, get a book, get a pen,
Yeah.
write a list of some, I suppose, what are your aspirations like? And you can go back into the past, can't you? What is that? What is it? What has been my dream? What do I want to, I always wanted to do? And then break that down into really realistic.
Not like,
I want to fly up to the moon.
yeah,
because that's not realistic, is it?
got to keep it realistic.
But yeah, always wanted to learn to play the piano. Well, you're not going to ever be motivated to play the piano if you haven't got one, or if you haven't got opportunity, or
Yeah, and then you go, right. Thing is, if this was me, it'd be like, right, that's what I want to do. I want to learn to play piano, but I ain't got one. Right, I need to buy a piano. Fuck, pianos are expensive. Shit, I'm not going to buy a piano. What should I do?
buy a keyboard.
Yeah, I'll buy a keyboard. Look at prices of keyboards. Don't really want to spend that. Need a new microphone. Have I ordered a new microphone today? No.
But that's not because you've been motivated to.
No,
That's
I'm
because you've been
fucking
busy.
tight.
Because you've been busy.
Too tight.
Because you're motivated to spend your money in other areas.
But no, you're right. You've got to make a plan. You've got to sit and write it down. You've got to look at what it is you need to do to achieve it. Because then what you can do is, take that as a good example. I want to learn to play the piano, but I don't have a piano. Right. At that point, you go, oh, fuck it, I can't learn then. No. What you can do is go, right, well, what can I do then? If I can't buy a piano because I haven't got the money, what's the other choices? There is the other choices. Can I make more money to be able to afford a piano? Can I find somewhere that's got a piano that I can go and use?
Yeah.
Are lessons cheaper to just go and have lessons?
You still got to practice after lessons, though, haven't
Yeah,
you?
you have. So then you go, yeah, I can have lessons, but still got to practice. So what am I going to do? Can't have piano, buy a keyboard. Brand new keyboards are expensive. Okay, how can I get a cheap keyboard?
Go in the marketplace.
Yeah. And that is the process of smart planning.
It's just breaking it down, isn't it? So it's and problem solving, which isn't always easy to do if you're depressed.
No.
So sometimes people need a bit of help with it.
We're pretty good at problem solving, aren't we?
Yeah, well, that's what I do for a living, isn't it?
Yeah.
Solve
Well, we
problems.
both do, really. That is. But I think we sometimes take it for granted that we are really good at that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I think I'm not the most driven or the most motivated of people because I'm a bit of a plodder. But when I actually think about what I do and how I do it just within my working day, I am actually quite driven in most things.
You've achieved a lot as well, to be fair.
So
My throat's really sore. I've talked really lots tonight.
I've got no grammar.
I've said loads.
What else did we say we was going to talk about?
So
Motivation.
the other thing was
I wrote it down.
it was about generational changes.
Oh yeah, generational theory.
What the difference between generations now, generational gaps, how generations are different, and you started talking about millennials and baby boomers and something else.
Yeah, I think how what we expect and how we react to the world around us is very different from generation to generation. When I think about my own grandparents and my own parents and how they viewed the world to how I view the world, is that how I view it? Is that different to how my kids are going to view the world and how they're going to behave within it?
Dexter, times have changed though, haven't they?
And times change all the time though, don't they?
Yeah. Dog's a dick. Isn't he?
He's like, he's going to get me.
Frightened of a fucking tripod. I think it's a really hard one because we could do an entire podcast on this because we've been youngsters.
A long time ago.
We've been poor youngsters.
So say build in your 20s, grind in your 30s, and relax in your 40s, but we're still grinding.
Yeah. And between us, we've worked with young, we've worked with old,
Yeah,
we've worked with teens.
I've worked across the spectrum.
Yeah, worked right across the spectrum with a varied range of different abilities as well.
And from different backgrounds, different, I suppose, when you talk about the class system.
And what I've noticed is the world for young people now. When I first started working with young people, we're going back 10 years?
Yes, yeah.
It's got to be getting 10 years. The change in teenagers in the last 10 years has just been ridiculous. I can't even believe how much they've changed and how worse they're getting. Like the kids that we get through coming as general needs kids now are kids that when I was working in residential homes would have been in there. So I can't imagine how bad the kids in residential homes must be.
Well, the same with mental health services. Like the patients that are coming through the doors now, like are far different to what they were 20 years ago. Like the level of self-harm and the level of self-destruct is so different.
What do you think's caused that?
I don't know.
Do you think social media plays a big role?
I think if I knew that answer, I'd be very rich.
You would,
because
yeah.
it's not. Yeah, it's national.
But what's your theory? You must have a theory on it.
I think we medicalise everything now. Everything's a condition, everything's a disorder, and it gives people permission to behave or act in a certain way, and that sense of self responsibility and personal responsibility is taken away from people.
Yeah, I agree. The whole everyone has to have some kind of illness or something. I get kids coming through in their teens, and you do like your interviewing that with them and talk about their suitability. Have you got any illnesses? Yeah. What have you got? ADHD, ADD, autism, ODD. Fucking and you're like, you've got all of that. Yeah. And then you say to like their lead professional or whatever, where's it documented? Oh, it's not. It's not actually documented. They just say they've got that. So they haven't got it.
Well, it's an excuse, isn't it? Then if they haven't actually got it, but they're saying they've got all those things, but those disorders come with real behavioural challenges, don't they?
Yeah.
And in terms of how people view the world and themselves within it. So if people choose or can't regulate their emotions or regulate themselves in a way that's socially acceptable, then if they stick a self-label on it, it gives them permission that that's okay. It's not their fault. And there's no blame then apportioned, and they don't have to take personal responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not that they're behaving badly; they're behaving because they've got a disease or a disorder.
And I think on the flip side of that, maybe not even on the flip side, but when you think about what it was like, even if you just go back to the 90s, I'm not saying things were better or worse, but we didn't pander to that shit then, did we?
No.
It was like, if you had someone that was misbehaving, if a kid in the 90s had ADHD, you fucking knew about it because they were flying up and down the stairs, running around like they were fucking hyperactive. The H in ADHD, the hyperactive. Now you've got kids that have got ADHD of hyperactive, and they're like that. Like fucking walking around dragging their school bag behind them. So what part of your illness is hyperactive? Because you're staying in bed all day and
an ODD, sort of oppositional defiance disorder. It's just saying
don't want to do as I'm told.
Yeah.
I don't like you telling me no. You can't tell me no. Oh, that's my ADD or my ODD. And I think, yes, I do think.
And there are people out there with ODD. And ADHD and autism.
Yeah, absolutely. People that really struggle in life. And
sort of neurodiversity.
I mean, we saw a girl today, didn't we, in the shop we was in, she was clearly autistic.
It was
She was
noisy.
struggling. It was noisy, and she was struggling. And her parents were really good with her, to be fair. And she was screaming at the top of her voice. And that's like, okay, that's fine. Like,
She's not affecting us though, was she?
she clearly had something wrong with her. And I think that when we start lumping everybody in with that, everybody that misbehaves, or you can't send him to prison for having a knife on him because he suffers from social anxiety, so he was carrying it because he was frightened. No, that's bullshit.
Still know the difference between right and
Yeah,
wrong.
that's it. You know the difference between right and wrong, and you're choosing to do wrong.
Even people with the most horrific mental illnesses still know the difference between right and wrong. People still make choices.
Mm. And I think a lot of it comes down. I had this conversation with someone today actually already. Um, I think discipline is a real problem, and I don't think we've got any discipline anymore. We kind of yes, we was right to stop with corporal punishment. I don't think teachers should be smacking kids or caning them, but equally, I don't think that we should take away tellings off, bollockings, like fucking hell.
I was petrified of some of my teachers because I thought, Jesus, like Mr. Best, I remember him screaming down my face, thinking he's going to hit me, and he never did, never laid a hand on any of us, but woe betide any of us that fucked about in his class
Yeah.
because he'd tell us.
I did have a
And
teacher.
if he rang my mum to say she'd been messing about, she'd tell me and all.
Yeah, and I think that's so we'll come back to that bit in a minute. But I just want to tell this story. We had a teacher called Mr. Connor, and he was a big old guy, like really tall, and he grew up in on Moss Side in the 80s in Manchester. So he grew up rough. He was bollocking me for something one day about my maths teacher. I'd done something. Molly Polly Perkins, her name was, and he grabbed me around the scruff and pinned me up against the door in his office. And I'm not saying it was right or wrong, and I'm not saying we should be grabbing kids by the scruff, but that bollocking set me straight. He didn't hit me. He went too far because he put his hands on me. And if someone put their hands on Isaac, if a teacher put their hands on Isaac in the school, they'd have me to deal with. But how many times has Isaac been in trouble at school and we've sided with the teachers if he's wrong?
But a lot don't, do they?
No, a lot don't. And that's one of the things I was going to say. You get now, parents will nearly always side with the kids against the system. And
that doesn't teach them, does it?
No, that doesn't help. If you're a parent watching this and your son or daughter's a little bastard, you need to fucking discipline them. Because we discipline ours when they're naughty.
Yeah,
you have to have discipline.
There's consequences, isn't there?
Yeah. But we don't smack, we don't use violence, but you don't need to discipline.
Our kids always know it's dangerous for me when I go quiet. Get out the room.
2-foot circle of danger. So I can't. This is the 2-foot circle of danger. Don't come within 2 foot of me because that's the circle of danger. But no, I think that's a big point. Like, parents have got to be responsible for the discipline of their kids.
And kids need to own what they do, don't they? If they make a mistake, we all make mistakes.
As they get older, yeah.
We all make mistakes, and it's about owning it and learning from it and moving on.
And then when you go further in the generation, like the next generation from us, like our parents, what must the world feel like to them? Like, you think, when my dad grew up, there wasn't even colour tellies. And now it's
smartphones.
Everyone's on their phones. And I remember trying to explain what an iPhone, my dad says, I don't know what a bloody iPhone is, boy. I've just got a normal mobile phone. So an iPhone is a normal mobile phone. Yeah, but it's one of them iPhone ones, isn't it? That's not just a normal one.
Well, like he doesn't always get Isaac, does he? He's like, he's just got his head in his phone.
Yeah.
But like he's playing chess, or he's talking to his mates from school.
Yeah.
Because it's not going out and playing out anymore like what we did growing up.
No.
Going out from dusk to dawn.
I don't know. Do you think it's any less safe? First of all, it's not safe nowadays because
I don't think
paedophiles everywhere.
I think there's always been paedophiles everywhere. It's just we know more about them now, don't we, because of social media.
I think it's more safe now. And I think the reason it looks like there's so much more going on in the world is because it gets reported on more.
We know about it all.
Yeah, let's take this woman that died a couple of weeks ago, the one that ended up in the river.
Nicola
Booley, yeah. we would never have heard of anything about that. If that had happened in the 90s,
No.
all you heard about was like things when it was Fred West, when it was
And
mass,
the Ripper, yeah.
yeah, when it was really big. But other than that, if it was just one person going missing and dying somewhere, you won't hear anything about it.
No. And you hear of all the murders that go on now, don't you?
You
And
hear
all
of
the
everything.
disappearance. It makes the world feel really unsafe.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's no more unsafe now than what it ever has been.
No. Frightening, that. The
That
world is
said,
frightening.
our daughter's still not going out after dark.
No, not till she's 25.
Oh.
But yeah, there is some real big gaps, real big changes, and just looking at the younger generation, sometimes I think,
Enunciate your words. What are you saying?
yeah.
So, oh, sorry. Have you been to the dentist? Have you had like numbing in your gums and your lips are all flappy?
How much do you think like they don't talk to each other? We always talk to each other at school. So all you could do was talk to each other, talked all the fucking time. But now I think kids just message each other all the time.
We used to pass notes under the desk.
Yeah, written notes.
Pass it on. But yeah, there are generational. But yeah, I'm gonna have a bit more of a read around it and think about sort of generational theory.
Do you know much about it?
No.
No, I don't.
So I'm gonna have a read.
I could talk to you about young people a lot because I know loads.
And we know a few old people. Your nana's old, isn't she? And I know obviously we haven't seen her for a little while, but I had a good chat with her. But certainly, I can remember when we used to go around to her flat. The things that she thought was, or even like I think about my own nana and granddad.
Yeah.
Do you want a biscuit? Do you want a sandwich? I have to feed you.
I remember your granddad said to me first time out, "What do you videotape?" I was like, "What? What do you videotape off the telly?" I was like, "I haven't got a fucking video."
But then I know 50-year-olds when you go around and go, "What do you compost?"
Yeah, what do you compost? Fucking compost anything.
Don't
But
know.
your granddad had like every episode of Coronation Street for the last 30 years on video, just fucking videotapes everywhere.
Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, what we got over here, Bullseye from 1987. I remember this one. Derek was on it.
And yeah, he always thought you had to invest your money in gold. So he had loads of gold and all the coins you could buy from the Royal Mint, all the different sets, because they were like his fortune.
Yeah.
And my mum wears a lot of gold.
Yeah. You never know when a gold coin from Esso in 1993 might come in handy.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't wear a lot of jewellery, but and I know
your mum does.
I know a lot of women my mum's age will wear a lot of gold, a lot of rings, and a lot of earrings, a lot of chains.
Yeah, it always used to be the sign of. There was a guy that lived in our village.
Like wealth.
Yeah, there was a guy that lived in our village who he'd go to the pub every weekend, and you'd see him walking through, and he'd wear a suit, and he'd have his chain across. You know, you wear the chain, gold chain.
Oh yeah.
All his sovereigns.
Like his pocket watch.
Yeah, like his pocket watch chain, all his sovereigns, and all his Sunday best on, and it was all his gold would be there.
But then I don't know if it's so much. I think there's generational differences, but I think there's also cultural differences, because I've looked after a few young Eastern European lads, and they very much want a big gold chain. But I don't see a lot of English lads with big gold chains on.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like what we would have, I suppose, in the 90s, it was quite fashionable to wear a big gold chain, wasn't it? But now the Eastern European lads seem to be doing that.
You don't see like sovereigns. It was 90s. It was sovereign rings.
Sovereigns and clowns.
Yeah, everyone wore sovereigns. I was desperate for a sovereign ring. I want one now. Don't know if you still buy them.
Don't know. But yeah, my granddad had all different sovereigns. Had some set in rings, and then some were just mounted. So why you got a load of gold on your wall? Get it sold. Get on holiday.
I think now that's what people are doing, isn't it? People are spending their money because
it's not worth anything, is it?
No.
Like, if you don't spend it now, it's worth less tomorrow, because everything's going up.
And everything costs now, doesn't it?
You're better off just paying off a bit of your house, aren't you? If you've got some extra money.
People just have mobile phones. People who can't afford to eat. People are going to food banks, but they've got a mobile phone.
But then you need a mobile phone now, don't you?
I don't think you do. I think you need to switch off. I think they need to switch the internet off. Boom, done, off. Fuck the internet off.
But I have people come through my service that had haven't had like mobile phones or access to technology or email addresses. Like they've come into a service when the world was a little bit different, and trying to set them up so they can pay their rent and they can pay their bills and that they can get their electric. Like you don't just go to the shop with your card with your key anymore, do you? It's all online.
Now imagine what that's like when we get kids that come in. We've got kids that have come from being street homeless and they've got no one and got nothing. They've got no money, and you've got to try and get them onto universal credit, and they haven't got a bank account
or an email address.
Yeah, no bank account, no email address, no ID, and you just right. How are you going to put electric on? You've moved into a flat. It needs electric. They've got no money. If you're going to set up the account, it's got to be online. They've got to pay. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's one of our biggest challenges, I think, trying to get young people set up on stuff like that before you start having to deal with the fact that most of them can't communicate. A lot of them really struggle to read and write. You ring up an electric company and you're on hold. Like you're 8 minutes. Oh, it's been 8 minutes. I'm not fucking waiting. It's been 8 minutes. I'm giving it till 10. 10, you're going to be on hold at least an hour and a half. At least. Oh, fuck that. I'm not doing that. And off they go. No.
I'll eat my beans cold.
Yeah. I'll just go with that electric. I'm not waiting a fucking hour and a half.
But then, it's about their motivation, isn't it? Is their motivation doing whatever it is they've got planned to do, or to sit there and get their electric sorted? And I guess if you've eaten cold beans for a week and you've got a cold belly and you're starting to feel the hunger pangs, and then you might be a little bit more motivated because you've got a need to be met.
Their biggest need when their electric runs out is I can't charge my phone. Not I'm sat in the dark on my heating work or whatever, can't charge my phone.
Because they can maybe cope with sitting in the dark or being cold. You can put an extra jumper on, but being not connected to somebody.
Yeah. And they do need them, and they do need that connection. But yeah, it's very difficult. And I think that is the big difference between when we were younger and now, isn't it? Is that need, that social media need. Like your social media back then wasn't social media. It was going to Horncastle Town Hall on a Friday night and talking to. That's how you found out what was happening weekly. Yeah, turning up and speaking to people. Or the next day at school, you never guess what happened. Never guess what happened last night. You'd find out at school.
You find out straight away now, can't you?
Yeah. There weren't any photos or anything of it.
No, I'm glad there's no photos.
Guess what happened last night? No, there was a punch up. Any photos? Yeah, there will be. I've just got to get my mum to take them down boots.
But yeah, can you imagine? Like, I had so many good nights out, but no photos of any of them.
I can't imagine what it would have been like if there had
probably
been.
Probably a good thing that there's no photos. But yeah, I think kids growing up now, everything's under a microscope, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they only have to have the wrong photo taken pissing about somewhere, and that's it. They're in trouble, aren't they? Or they've lost all their friends, and they all start bullying each other online, don't they?
Yeah.
So even you get bullied at school. When we were kids, you'd come home and that would be a respite, but they still get bullied at home, don't they? Because they've got their devices.
Yeah, and if you do or say something stupid in the 90s, a couple of people hear it and then they spread it round, and it's not really have that much of an impact. You say or do something stupid nowadays,
it goes viral.
It's on camera and everybody sees it, and suddenly you're picked on for the rest of your life for it.
Yeah.
It's fucking, it's got to be difficult.
You can see why kids get depressed, can't you?
Yeah.
And then they lose all their connections with people. I watched this interesting video before on connections, but it was about addiction. I'll find it, and you can maybe put it in the description. It was a YouTube video, but it was saying how we treat people with addictions just reinforces all the reasons why people are addicted to stuff.
Yeah.
And it's about a disconnect.
There's a guy I follow on Instagram, an American guy who's a recovering addict, and he does loads of stuff around positivity towards recovering addicts, but also around how we treat addicts.
Well, we treat them by locking them up and criminalising them and isolating them from the world around them.
I've started to change my thinking a little bit around addicts. Obviously, with my prison history and the people that I've worked with have always looked quite negatively towards addicts. But I think,
But you're addicted to coffee.
yeah, absolutely. And I think what we see is that people talk about addicts and they think about fucking street scum, thieving,
There's quite a lot of high
injecting.
functioning people that are addicts that you'd
Mm,
never know. I bet you know an addict without even knowing they're an addict.
yeah, probably. Yeah, probably do. Or I think,
People are addicted to painkillers, aren't they?
yeah. Yeah, I
It's
think
not all.
some people just need that help to get themselves out that rut. And I know people that have been addicts and are now recovering addicts.
I know quite a lot of people that have been addicted to painkillers because of like injury,
Mm,
and then they've had to go through like addiction or it's called We Are With You now, isn't it?
mm.
To get off it because it's not easy.
It wasn't. I remember when I had to come off painkillers after I had my back op. It's fucking rattling.
It was like you went to the doctors and you were like, I keep feeling funny, and he was like, yeah, you're addicted. He's
I
like,
remember
I'm fucking not.
I remember taking these fucking tramadol, and I was on 2 tablets 4 times a day, so I was on 8 tablets, and I'd already got this negative negative thoughts about tramadol because I'd seen prisoners abusing them, and I remember a couple of weeks into recovery from my surgery, I said to you, I ain't fucking taking these anymore.
Don't need it.
I'd already binned off the Nefapam because that was like I used to take that 1 tablet and you'd go bye, and I'd be like and I said I'm just not taking these anymore. So I took my last 2 at night, and then I got up in the morning, didn't take any more. By 10 o'clock, I was on the sofa like that. Oh, it's like I don't feel well. And you was like, you just need to take some tramadol. I was like, no, I'll be fine. I was like, and I was like, I'll fucking take some. So I took some, and then I remember reducing 1 tablet down every day. So 2 8 times a day, and then
Yeah.
and I got down to that last
Because it's
one.
physical addiction, isn't it? It's not psychological.
Yeah.
But people get psychological addictions as well as physical addictions, and they're doubly hard to break them.
I remember the last one, and I couldn't kick it, and we went to, I think it was Sundown, not the time that I nearly died from fucking appendicitis, but we'll talk about that another time. It was a different time. We went to Sundown. I said, we're just going to go out for that. I'm not going to take the tablet. We're going to go out and I'll just fucking deal with it. And I did, and that's how I got off it. But other than that, it was fucking horrible.
And for months and months after, it would just like the physical effect would creep back up, wouldn't it? And you'd be like, I got that feeling again.
Yeah, see, you're addicted. I'm not a fucking addict. I'm not a fucking smackhead.
But not all addicts are smackheads, are they?
No, and I think it's easy. It's easy to get carried away with the media and the negativity and stuff. But there's people out there that genuinely need help. Get caught up. We've all known people, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked about addiction as well.
Yeah. So if you're struggling with addiction, We Are With You are fantastic. The old ad action.
I'm sure they're national.
Yeah, I think so. We'll have a look what other addiction. Frank one, that's national. And I think I would always say go to a professional to get help.
And GP and stuff, yeah.
Because addiction, even if it's whatever gambling addiction, it'll ruin your life eventually.
Well, there's all the anonymous, isn't there? The AA and the gambling's anonymous.
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 I'm in talks with a few different people at the moment to come on the podcast.
Cool.
Or to do the live.
They'll come round.
To do the live show. I don't think so because they're in like Vancouver and Massachusetts.
Well, it's not far. How committed are they? How motivated are they?
How motivated are they? Maybe they need to smart plan how they can get here. I don't think they're that motivated to come and do that. But one of them is an addiction expert.
I guess it depends on what the reward is.
Yeah, the reward will be coming on our fucking podcast.
Absolutely.
There's no bigger reward than that.
Nope.
When I'm asking people to come on, I've started calling us the most underrated, overlooked thing on YouTube today.
Selling it then.
Selling it. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up because we've done an hour and we was only going to do half an hour. So don't forget, guys, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do so. If you haven't shared this podcast with your friends, please do so.
And go over to the Crafts of Hutch
Oh yeah, check out the Crafts of Hutch.
on Facebook.
But yeah, like and subscribe to the page.
Like and subscribe. Go buy a duck.
Share it around because we're reaching more people.
Because it motivates me when you buy a duck.
We'll get that promoted. We'll get the ducks out there.
Yeah.
I'll put it back on the Discord again tonight.
Or a penguin.
Or a penguin. You love penguins, don't you?
I do like penguins.
But yeah, and by the time this goes out, tonight, because this will be going out on Thursday.
Oh, I love you.
Huh?
I love you.
Oh, you're yawning. Yeah, you love me. This will be going out on Thursday, which means tonight we have got a really inspirational young guy on. This is the new thing now. So we've got this is the mental health podcast, and the lives are just going to be called the live show with the fitness hutch. Do you like that?
Oh, is that an exclusive?
So on the live show tonight, which will be Thursday, not tonight, which is Saturday, we've got a young lad called Jack Murray, who's a coach for teens and tweens, but he's got an amazing story and he's not very old. I'm not going to say how old he is because I want everyone to watch to find out. But he's got a motivational, inspirational story. So watch that tonight at 8:30.
Fabulous.
Right.
Stay motivated.
Hopefully see you Saturday night for the live again.
Achieve your goals.